Your Honor, may I introduce an additional witness? Elon Musk's voice sounded quiet but confident. Judge Beatrice Thornwald couldn't help but sneer. She peered over her glasses at the billionaire. Mr. Musk, you came to my court without a lawyer, with a pile of unorganized papers, and now you want to change the order of the trial? She shook her head. 30 years on the bench, and I've never seen a man of your resources display such arrogance. A murmur ran through the courtroom, and several reporters leaned forward. Magnatech's lead attorney, Dominic Reeves, made no secret of his satisfaction. Your Honor, Musk continued, his voice firmer now, my witness is prepared to testify under oath that Magnatech stole my technology and— Enough, Judge Thornwald slammed her gavel. Mr. Musk, there are rules of procedure. Do you think they don't apply to you just because you launch rockets? Another wave of laughter swept through the room. Musk looked down, clearly embarrassed. Victor Hammond, Magnatech's CEO, leaned toward Reeves and whispered, He's burying himself. It's easier than I expected. No one noticed the thin smile that briefly appeared on Musk's lips as he gathered up his scattered papers. No one guessed that every clumsy mistake, every confusion, was part of a carefully thought-out plan. In a few hours, everything in this courtroom will change. Judge Thornwald will no longer laugh. The most interesting part is coming. Stay with us to find out how it all ends. In the meantime, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't lose it. Judge Beatrice Thornwald rapped her gavel 3 times, the sound echoing throughout courtroom 7 of the San Francisco Federal Building. The court is now called to order, she said, her voice as sharp as a knife. Case number 2025 CB 7842, Magnatech Industries v. Musk Innovations. Judge Thornwald spent 30 years on the bench. In that time, she'd seen it all. Tech billionaires, movie stars, corrupt politicians. None of them intimidated her. None of them impressed her. So when Elon Musk walked into her courtroom without a lawyer, she couldn't help but grin a little. Another rich guy who thought the rules didn't apply to him. Mr. Musk, she said, looking at her papers, according to my notes, you are representing yourself. Is that correct? Musk stood up. He was wearing a simple dark suit, no tie. Yes, Your Honor. A murmur ran through the courtroom. Even the court stenographer raised her eyebrows. A bold choice, Judge Thornwald said. Well, let's waste no time. Opening statements, please. Magnatech, you first. Dominic Reeves, Magnatech's attorney, walked to the stand. He was tall and imposing, wearing an expensive suit, slicked-back gray hair, and glasses that probably cost more than most people's cars. Your Honor, Reeves began, this case is quite simple. Mr. Musk's company stole our client's revolutionary battery design. We have the patent. We have the evidence. By the end of this trial, the facts will speak for themselves. Judge Thornwald nodded. Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Mr. Musk, your opening statement. Musk walked to the front of the courtroom. He pulled crumpled papers from his pocket and dropped one. As he bent to pick it up, someone in the gallery chuckled. Your Honor, he began, his voice quieter than expected. I'm here because Magnatech is trying to steal what my team created. He shuffled through his papers, losing his place. The battery design in question uses, a special coating that— Musk paused, looking confused. Excuse me, I have diagrams somewhere. Judge Thornwald couldn't help but let out a short laugh. Mr. Musk, she said, this is not a rocket launch. In my courtroom, we follow due process. Do you have your evidence organized and ready to present? I think so, Your Honor, he replied, still shuffling through the papers. The gallery erupted in laughter. Even the bailiff smiled. Judge Thornwald raised her hand for silence, but her eyes sparkled with mirth. She had seen it before. Rich people thinking they could improvise in court without proper preparation. From the plaintiff's desk, Dominic Reeves shot Musk a smug look. This was going to be easier than he thought. In the gallery, a young woman with short black hair watched with growing concern. Layla Chen, Musk's chief engineer, fidgeted with her hands in her lap. This was not going according to plan. Perhaps, Judge Thornwald suggested, not without kindness, you should hire a lawyer, Mr. Musk. Patent law is complicated, not something most people can handle without legal training. I can handle it, Your Honor, Musk replied, finally organizing his papers. Very well, said the judge. Magnatech, please present your case. As Reeves approached with his team of 3 assistants, wheeling carefully organized boxes of evidence, Judge Thornwald leaned back in her chair. She caught her secretary's eye and rolled her eyes slightly. The secretary smiled knowingly in return. Reeves set up an elegant digital presentation. Your Honor, may I continue? She nodded. The lights in the courtroom dimmed, and a crystal-clear slide appeared on the screen. Magnatech filed this patent on March 15th, Reeves began. As you can see, the design is revolutionary. Judge Thornwald listened attentively, occasionally glancing at Musk. He was taking notes, his face giving nothing away. Mr. Musk's company began producing an identical design in April, Reeves continued. The timeline alone proves our case. Throughout the presentation, Musk remained oddly calm. At one point, Judge Thornwald noticed him staring at a seemingly random spot on the courtroom wall. Mr. Musk, she interrupted. Are you with us? Yes, Your Honor, he replied, blinking as if coming out of deep thought. Good, because I will not tolerate you wasting this court's time if you do not take these procedures seriously. Musk's face flushed slightly, but he nodded. As the morning session progressed, Judge Thornwald found herself increasingly frustrated by Musk's casual approach. When he finally objected to something, his argument was so poorly worded that she had to cut him off. Mr. Musk, that's not how rumors work, she explained with barely concealed impatience. Perhaps you could use a course in legal procedure 101. The courtroom buzzed again. Little did she know that the eccentric billionaire sitting before her was not as unprepared as he seemed. Behind his awkward appearance and disorganized paperwork, Elon Musk was setting a trap that would soon leave everyone in the courtroom, including her, completely stunned. 6 months ago, the lab was humming with energy. Bright lights reflected off polished metal surfaces as Elon Musk and Layla Chen leaned over a workbench. Between them sat a device no bigger than a shoebox. It didn't look like much, just a metal case with wires. But they both knew it could change the world. Run the test again, Musk said, not taking his eyes off the device. Layla tapped her tablet. The device glowed blue around the edges. Power output is holding at 98% efficiency, she said, her eyes wide. That's 3 times better than anything else on the market. Musk didn't smile. He rarely smiled while working, but there was a sparkle in his eyes. If it works at scale, we could power a house for a month with something the size of a brick, he said, or a car for 1,000 miles. We did it, Layla whispered. We really did it. At that moment, Musk's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and frowned. Victor Hammond is here, he said. Layla's smile disappeared. CEO of Magnatech? Why? He wants to talk about a partnership, Musk sighed. Cover it. I'll meet him in the conference room. Are you sure this is wise? Layla asked. Magnatech has stolen designs before. Let that be my concern. Musk headed for the door. Just hide everything important. Victor Hammond was tall and well-groomed, with perfect teeth and an overly firm handshake. Elon, thanks for having me, Hammond boomed. 2 assistants stood next to him, clipboards in hand. How can I help you, Victor? Musk asked, not bothering with small talk. Straight to the point. Magnatech wants to partner with you in energy storage. We have manufacturing capabilities that you don't, and you have a creative spark that our engineers sometimes lack. Musk nodded slowly. Interesting. What do you mean? A tour today, then we'll discuss the details. I'd like to see what you've been working on. Hammond smiled like a hungry shark. Musk seemed to consider this. Brief tour, but some areas are closed. Ongoing research. Of course, Hammond quickly agreed. As they walked through the facility, Musk noticed Hammond lingering in certain areas, his eyes taking in every detail. At one point, Musk thought he saw one of Hammond's assistants quickly snap a photo when he thought no one was looking. When they reached the doors of the main lab, Musk stopped. This area is restricted. Hammond nodded in understanding, but Musk saw a flash of disappointment in his eyes. Well, I've seen enough to know that we could do great things together, Hammond said, extending his hand. I'll have my people contact your people. After Hammond left, Musk went straight to security. I want every second of Hammond's visit, he told his security chief. That night, Musk reviewed the footage in his office. There it was, Hammond's assistant taking photos when Musk's back was turned. Hammond himself peering through a window into a closed lab when he thought no one was looking. I knew it, Musk muttered. 2 months later, Layla burst into Musk's office, her face flushed with anger. Magnatech just filed a patent, she said, slapping a printout on his desk, for an energy storage device that uses our nanocoating technology. They stole it, Elon. They stole our design. Musk took the papers, looking over them calmly. Too calmly. You don't look surprised, Layla said, studying his face. I'm not surprised, Musk leaned back in his chair. Hammond never called about the partnership. I knew something was going on. We have to fight this, Layla exclaimed. Call the lawyers. I already talked to them. Musk stood up and walked to the window. They say it'll be hard to prove. Hammond was cautious. So we just give up? Layla couldn't believe what she was hearing. I didn't say that. Musk turned, a strange light in his eyes. I'm going to handle this myself. Layla's jaw dropped. You mean in person? In court? Yes. In the weeks that followed, Musk's behavior became increasingly erratic. He canceled meetings, disappeared for hours. One night, Layla found him in his office at midnight, surrounded by law books, scribbling notes in the margins. This is crazy, she said, holding up a book on patent law. We have a legal team for this. They'll be expecting the legal team, Musk said, not looking up. They won't be expecting me. That's because it's a terrible idea, she said. Hammond has the best lawyers money can buy. Musk finally looked up, his eyes tired but determined. Sometimes you have to do things yourself. Is this about your ego, Layla asked? To prove that you're smarter than everyone else? No, Musk shook his head. This is about fairness and strategy. Layla sighed, unconvinced. What strategy involves going to court unprepared against professional lawyers? Musk smiled for the first time that night. Who said anything about being unprepared? He turned his notebook toward her. The pages were filled with precise notes, diagrams, and what looked like a timeline. I know exactly what I'm doing, he said quietly. Trust me. But as Layla looked at her boss's determined face, she couldn't help but worry that this time his famous confidence might be his downfall. What she didn't know was that Elon Musk had more than just notes and diagrams. He had a plan that would shock everyone, especially one very skeptical judge. Back in the courtroom, where the first day of the trial is underway, after lunch, Judge Thornwald adjusted her black robe and checked her watch. Dominic Reeves had already set up his next visual aid, a large screen showing side-by-side comparisons of the two companies' battery designs. As you can clearly see, Your Honor, Reeves said, pointing his laser pointer, the similarities are undeniable. The internal structure, the cooling system, even the special coating, they are identical. From the raised bench, Judge Thornwald nodded. Go on, Mr. Reeves. Magnatech spent millions developing this technology, Reeves continued, switching to the next slide. Years of research led to this breakthrough. Then just weeks after we filed our patent, Mr. Musk's company suddenly announced an identical product. In the gallery, reporters scribbled notes. The case had attracted media attention from around the world. Technology journalists, business reporters, and curious onlookers filled the rows of seats. We'd like to call our first witness, Reeves announced. Dr. Alan Murphy, head of research and development at Magnatech. A thin man wearing wire-rimmed glasses stepped onto the witness stand. After being sworn in, he sat nervously in the witness chair. Dr. Murphy, Reeves began, please explain to the court your role in the development of this battery technology. I led the team that created the nanocoating, Murphy explained. It's a key innovation that enables higher energy density and faster charging. And when did you start this work? About 18 months ago, Murphy answered confidently. Judge Thornwald watched as Reeves led his witness through a detailed explanation of the technology. The lawyer was adept at breaking down complex concepts into manageable chunks. The judge was impressed with both the lawyer and the technology. She glanced at Musk from time to time. He remained oddly calm, taking notes but rarely raising objections. One day she noticed him staring at a particular ceiling tile, seemingly lost in thought. Mr. Musk, she interrupted sharply, are you with us? Musk blinked and focused on her. Yes, Your Honor, just thinking about the testimony. Judge Thornwald frowned. Well, think about it more actively, please. After all, it's your business. A few people in the gallery chuckled. Judge Thornwald allowed herself a small smile. She had dealt with arrogant tech CEOs before, but usually they at least pretended to take legal proceedings seriously. The testimony continued, with Reeves calling a patent expert who explained the filing process and timeline. Again, the evidence seemed compelling to Musk. As you can see, the expert concluded, Magnatech's pitch precedes any public mention of similar technology from Mr. Musk's company. Judge Thornwald noticed Musk writing in his notebook. For a moment, she wondered what strategy, if any, he was developing. Then she dismissed the thought. He was clearly out of his element. Your Honor, Reeves said, I would like to introduce our next piece of evidence. The assistant rolled the covered object in. With a dramatic gesture, Reeves pulled back the cloth to reveal the prototype battery. This is a working prototype that we developed before filing the patent, Reeves explained. It was created entirely by the Magnatech team. From her place in the gallery, Layla tensed. She leaned forward, studying the device, her eyes narrowing in recognition. Judge Thornwald noticed the young woman's reaction and made a mental note. Something about this prototype triggered a reaction. "Would you like to inspect the device, Your Honor?" Reeves offered. "Thank you, Mr. Reeves." Judge Thornwald picked up the prototype, turning it carefully in her hands. Despite her law degree, she had studied engineering in college. Something about the design seemed elegant, efficient. "Impressive," she admitted, handing the device back. Reeves smiled, feeling victorious. "We would now like to call our final witness for the day, Victor Hammond, CEO of Magnatech." A tall, well-groomed man whom Musk had met a few months earlier, he strode confidently to the witness stand. After taking the oath, he sat with perfect posture, exuding confidence. "Mr. Hammond," Reeves began, "please tell the court about your company's commitment to innovation." Hammond launched into a well-rehearsed speech about Magnatech's history of breakthroughs. Judge Thornwald listened intently, glancing periodically at Musk to gauge his reaction. To her surprise, Musk was now fully engaged, watching Hammond with intense focus. There was something almost predatory in his gaze. For the first time, Judge Thornwald felt a glimmer of doubt. Was there more to Musk's strategy than she had realized? "Did you have any contact with Mr. Musk or his company before developing this technology?" Reeves asked Hammond. "Minimal," Hammond replied smoothly. "We had one brief meeting about potential collaboration, but nothing came of it." Judge Thornwald saw the shadow of a smile flicker across Musk's face. When Hammond finished his testimony, Reeves walked to the bench. "Your Honor, Mr. Musk now has the opportunity to cross-examine our witness." Judge Thornwald turned to Musk. "Mr. Musk, would you like to ask Mr. Hammond any questions?" Musk stood up slowly. "Not at this moment, Your Honor. I'll save my questions for later." Hammond looked surprised, then relaxed. He stepped down from the witness stand, casting a triumphant glance at Musk as he returned to his seat. "Very well," said Judge Thornwald, unable to hide her disappointment. She had expected at least some attempt at a defense. "Mr. Reeves, please continue." "Your Honor," Reeves said confidently, "we have presented clear evidence that Magnatech developed and patented this technology first. Mr. Musk's company clearly copied our client's innovative design. The evidence speaks for itself." Judge Thornwald nodded, finding herself agreeing with Reeves' assessment. The case seemed straightforward. "Mr. Musk," she said, turning to the billionaire, "you will have the opportunity to present your defense tomorrow. I suggest you prepare more thoroughly than you did today." Musk looked up from his notepad. "I appreciate your concern, Your Honor." Something in his tone made Judge Thornwald pause. There was a confidence in it that belied his apparently weak position. As she prepared to adjourn the meeting for the day, she noticed Musk again looking at the same spot on the wall. "Mr. Musk, are you even paying attention?" she asked sharply. Musk turned to face her, his eyes clear. "Always, Your Honor, more than you might think." For some reason she couldn't explain, Judge Thornwald felt a chill run down her spine. Perhaps there was more to Elon Musk than met the eye. But what could he possibly have planned that would counter the mountain of evidence against him? "The court is adjourned until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning," said Judge Thornwald, striking her gavel. As people filed out of the courtroom, Musk gathered up his messy pile of papers. Dominic Reeves walked past, barely hiding his smug smile. "Good luck tomorrow, Musk," he said quietly. "Though I doubt it will be enough luck." Musk simply nodded. "See you tomorrow, Reeves." In the hallway outside, reporters surrounded both men. "Mr. Musk, are you going to hire a lawyer now?" one shouted. "Mr. Reeves, is this case as clear as it seems?" called another. Musk walked through the crowd without answering. Layla caught up with him at the courthouse steps. "It was cruel," she said. "Hammond lied under oath about meeting you." "I noticed," Musk replied calmly. "And this prototype, it was our design. They just changed the outer casing." "I know." Layla grabbed his arm, stopping him. "Elon, you have to do something. They're destroying us there." Musk glanced back at the courthouse, his face unreadable. "I'm going to." 20 minutes later, they were sitting in a rented office across from the courthouse, which Musk had converted into a temporary workspace with computers, whiteboards, and boxes of files. "What are we doing here?" Layla asked, watching Musk boot up his laptop. "We're getting ready," he replied. "I need you to access our building security logs from the day of Hammond's visit." "Security logs? Why?" "Just trust me. While Layla was working, Musk made a phone call. "It's me," he said to the man on the other end. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" He listened for a moment. "Okay, remember, timing is everything." Layla looked up from her computer. "I have the logs." "What now?" "Find all the footage of Hammond and his crew. I want every second they were in our building. They spent hours watching security footage." Layla gasped when she found what Musk was looking for. "There," she pointed to the screen. "Hammond's assistant is taking pictures in a restricted area." Musk nodded. "And here," he said, moving on to another clip. "Hammond himself is looking through the lab window after I told him that area was off limits." "That proves they were spies," Layla said excitedly. "But is that enough to win the case?" "Not by itself," Musk admitted. "We need more." He pulled out his phone and sent a message. Within minutes, the phone buzzed with a response. Musk smiled as he read it. "What?" Layla asked. "Let's just say I've been working on this case longer than Hammond realizes." As midnight approached, Musk was still preparing. He assembled what looked like a small electronic device on a table. "What is it?" Layla asked, yawning. "A demonstration," Musk replied, "for tomorrow." "Shouldn't you be working on legal arguments instead?" Musk looked up, a gleam in his eyes. "Sometimes the best legal argument is not a legal argument at all." Morning came too quickly. Back in the courtroom, Judge Thornwald called the session to order. "Mr. Musk, are you ready to present your defense?" she asked, expecting the same awkward presentation as yesterday. Musk stood up. "Actually, Your Honor, I would like to request a one-day recess." Surprised murmurs swept through the courtroom. Judge Thornwald frowned. "A break? On what grounds?" "I need to rethink my approach," Musk said, sounding defeated, "given the strong case against me." More whispers. Reeves couldn't hide his triumphant smile. Judge Thornwald studied Musk's face. Was he finally admitting defeat? Or was this part of some strategy she couldn't see? "Your Honor," Reeves interrupted, "we object to this delay. Mr. Musk has had ample time to prepare his defense." "I understand," Musk said quickly, "but after yesterday's testimony, I realize I may need professional help." Laughter rippled through the gallery. Judge Thornwald allowed herself a small smile. This was him finally admitting that he needed a lawyer. "While I'm inclined to decline your request, Mr. Musk," she said, "I'll give you a one-day break. But don't waste our time tomorrow." "Thank you, Your Honor," Musk said, bowing his head slightly. When the courtroom emptied, Reeves approached Musk. "Finally realized you're out of your league?" he asked. "Something like that," Musk replied. Back in their temporary office, Layla paced nervously. "I don't understand. Why did you ask for a delay when we spent the whole night preparing?" "Because," Musk explained, typing rapidly on his laptop, "I want them to be overconfident. Hammond thinks I'm giving up." "But what are we actually doing today?" Layla demanded. "Two things," Musk said, not looking up. "One, we're finishing this." He gestured toward the electronic device they'd been working on the night before. "And two," Musk finally looked up, his expression serious, "we're meeting someone important." Later that afternoon, a woman arrived at their office. She was in her 40s with dark hair pulled back into a tight bun. She looked nervous. "Priya Nair," Musk greeted her. "Thank you for coming." "I'm risking my career by being here," the woman said quietly. "I know," Musk replied, "but it's the right thing to do." Layla looked confused. "Who is she?" "Priya Nair," Musk explained. "Until last week, she was Magnatech's head of research and development." Layla's eyes widened. "Wait, not Dr. Murphy?" "Murphy was promoted after I left," Priya explained. "I couldn't stay after what Hammond asked us to do." For the next hour, Musk and Priya talked quietly while Layla finished their electronic demo. As the evening wore on, Musk seemed more confident than ever. "Are you sure about this?" Layla asked as they were getting ready. "This is unorthodox, even for you." Musk smiled, his eyes reflecting the glow of his computer. "Sometimes innovation is not just about technology." "That's not an answer," Layla sighed. "Trust me," Musk said, closing his laptop. "By this time tomorrow, Judge Thornwald won't be laughing anymore." That night, while Hammond and Reeves celebrated their seemingly inevitable victory with expensive whiskey, Elon Musk made one final preparation for the next day's court hearing. A simple cardboard box that would change everything. The morning dawned with a buzz of excitement around the courthouse. News of Musk's requested recess had spread, with many speculating that he was preparing to throw in the towel. Reporters crowded the steps, cameras at the ready. "Mr. Musk, have you hired a lawyer? Are you settling with Magnatech? Are you dropping the case?" Musk walked past them without answering, a cardboard box under his arm. Layla followed close behind, her face a mask of calm that hid her nervousness. Inside, the courtroom was crowded. Victor Hammond sat confidently at the plaintiff's table, whispering to Reeves. Both looked up as Musk entered, eyeing the box curiously. "What's he up to?" Hammond muttered. "Probably the terms of his surrender," Reeves replied with a grin. Judge Thornwald entered, and everyone stood as she took her seat. She noticed that Musk looked different today. Gone was the awkward, absent-minded manner. Instead, he stood up straight, his eyes clear and focused. "The court is in session," she announced. "Mr. Musk, yesterday you requested time to reconsider your approach. Have you decided to seek legal advice?" "No, Your Honor," Musk replied, his voice stronger than before. "I will continue to represent myself." Judge Thornwald sighed dramatically. "Very good. Are you ready to present your defense?" "I'm ready, Your Honor. But first I'd like to call a surprise witness." A whisper passed through the courtroom. Reeves jumped to his feet. "Objection! We have not received notice of additional witnesses." Judge Thornwald frowned. "Mr. Musk, this is not a TV drama. This is not how real court cases work." "I understand, Your Honor," Musk replied calmly. "But these are special circumstances. My witness only took the stand yesterday after Magnatech's testimony." Judge Thornwald studied Musk's face. There was something different about him today, a quiet confidence she had not seen before. "This should be good," she warned. "Who is this witness?" "Priya Nair, former head of research and development at Magnatech." The name sent a visible shock through the Magnatech team. Hammond's face went pale. Reeves stood up again, his composure wavering. "Objection! Ms. Nair is bound by a confidentiality agreement with Magnatech. She cannot testify about the company's affairs." "That's not entirely accurate," Musk countered. "Ms. Nair's agreement has exceptions for illegal activity, which is exactly what she's talking about." The room fell silent. Judge Thornwald leaned forward, her interest piqued in spite of herself. "Mr. Reeves, your objection is noted but overruled. I will admit the witness." She turned to Musk. "It must be appropriate, Mr. Musk." "That is true, Your Honor. Thank you." The bailiff opened the door and Priya Nair walked in. She looked nervous but determined as she took the oath and settled into the witness box. "Ms. Nair," Musk began, "until recently, what was your position at Magnatech?" "I was head of research and development for 8 years, she replied, her voice confident despite her obvious tension. "Shurijan, and why did you leave?" Priya took a deep breath. "I left last week because of ethical concerns about the battery technology that is at the heart of this case." Another whisper went through the courtroom. Hammond was now urgently whispering to Reeves. "Could you explain these considerations?" "The technology was not developed by Magnatech," Priya stated clearly. "We were ordered to reverse engineer Mr. Musk's prototype after Mr. Hammond visited his facility." The courtroom erupted. Judge Thornwald banged her gavel repeatedly. "Order! Order in court!" When silence returned, Reeves was back on his feet, his face red with anger. "Your Honor, these are baseless accusations. Where is the evidence?" "That's an excellent question," Judge Thornwald agreed, turning to Musk. "Do you have evidence to support that testimony?" "Yes, Your Honor." Musk finally opened his mysterious cardboard box. From it, he pulled out a laptop and a small device. "Miss Nair," he continued, "did Mr. Hammond give specific instructions to your team to copy my design?" "Yes," she answered firmly. "After his visit to your facility, he called an emergency meeting. He showed us the photographs his assistant had taken and told us to recreate the technology as quickly as possible." Hammond's face went from pale to red. He scribbled something and handed it to Reeves. "What about Dr. Murphy, who testified yesterday?" "Alan was promoted to my position after I questioned the ethics of what we were doing," Priya explained. "He was willing to go along with Hammond's plan." Reeves stood up again. "Your Honor, these are rumors and speculations." "Is that so?" Musk asked calmly. He hooked up his laptop to the courtroom's display system. "With the court's permission, I would like to show some evidence." Judge Thornwald nodded, now fully engaged. "Go on, Mr. Musk." The screen lit up with security footage from Musk's facility. It clearly showed Hammond's assistant taking photos in restricted areas, and Hammond himself peering through windows he'd been told were off limits. "That doesn't prove anything," Reeves said. "Looking isn't stealing." "Maybe not that," Musk agreed, "but it might be more compelling." He clicked on the next file. Emails between Hammond and Priya discussing how to repurpose Musk's design. Reeves stared at the screen in shock. Where did you get these? Ms. Nair provided them, Musk explained. Along with these, the following images showed side-by-side comparisons of the internal components. Musk's original designs and the Magnatech copies, they were identical. Judge Thornwald's expression changed completely. The skepticism was gone, replaced by growing shock as the evidence mounted. Your Honor, Musk said, there's more. Ms. Nair provided internal memos showing that Magnatech had no such technology in development prior to Hammond's visit to my facility. Their entire claim is fraudulent. Hammond couldn't hold back any longer. This is a setup, he shouted, rising from his chair. You can't believe this. Mr. Hammond, Judge Thornwald warned, control yourself or I will remove you. The atmosphere in the courtroom changed dramatically. Now it was Reeves who looked anxious and unprepared, while Musk seemed calm and in control. Judge Thornwald turned to Priya. Ms. Nair, do you understand the gravity of your testimony? You accuse Magnatech of corporate espionage and fraud. I understand, Your Honor, Priya replied. That's why I resigned and spoke out. It was the right thing to do. As the morning session continued, Judge Thornwald found herself watching Musk with new eyes. The awkward, absent-minded man from the day before was gone. In his place stood someone precise and methodical, someone who had apparently planned this moment from the start. Was it all an act? Was he deliberately appearing unprepared to lull Magnatech's vigilance? Whatever the truth, one thing was for sure. Judge Beatrice Thornwald was no longer laughing at Elon Musk. Ms. Nair, Musk continued, could you please tell the court exactly what happened after Mr. Hammond returned from his visit to my facility? Priya Nair sat upright in the witness box, her hands folded in her lap. She had been Magnatech's star scientist for nearly a decade. Now she was their worst nightmare. Mr. Hammond called an emergency meeting that afternoon, she began. He was extremely excited. He showed us photographs his assistant had taken secretly during the tour and said he had seen a goldmine of ideas in the closed sections. Hammond's face darkened. He scribbled a note and handed it to Reeves, who shook his head slightly. Did he specifically mention my energy storage technology? Musk asked. Yes, he was particularly interested in nano-coating. He said it was the key to making batteries hold more energy for longer periods. And what did he ask your team to do? He told us to drop everything else and focus on recreating what he saw. His exact words were, I want this technology before Musk patents it. A murmur passed through the courtroom. Judge Thornwald leaned forward, completely absorbed in the testimony. This was not what she had expected when the day began. Have you raised any concerns about this directive? Musk continued. Priya nodded. I told Mr. Hammond that what he was proposing sounded like corporate espionage. I suggested a legitimate partnership instead. And how did he react? He said, and I quote, why should we spend money on licenses if we can reproduce the technology ourselves? Another wave of reaction swept through the gallery. Hammond was now red with anger. It's a lie, he cried, unable to contain himself. She's making this up. Mr. Hammond, Judge Thornwald warned sharply, one more such attack, and I will remove you from my courtroom. Musk remained calm, seemingly unperturbed by the drama. Miss Nair, do you have any evidence to support your statement? Yes, she replied. I kept notes of all our meetings. I also saved the emails and text messages where these instructions were given. Your Honor, Musk said to the judge, I would like to introduce these documents into evidence. He handed the folder to the court clerk, who handed it to Judge Thornwald. She opened it and began to look through the contents, her expression growing more serious with each page. Reeves was finally recovered enough to stand. Your Honor, these documents should be inadmissible. They contain proprietary information from Magnatech that Ms. Nair had no right to remove from the company. Actually, Musk countered, under Magnatech's own employment contract, which I included in this folder, employees are both protected and required to report potential illegal activity. Ms. Nair acted within her rights. Judge Thornwald nodded. I tend to agree with Mr. Musk on this issue. The documents are accepted. Reeves sat down heavily, looking stunned. Hammond was now whispering urgently to one of his aides, who quickly left the courtroom. Ms. Nair, Musk continued, what happened after you raised these concerns? Sornon, I was gradually removed. Tasks were reassigned. Then 2 weeks ago, Alan Murphy was promoted to my position, and I was transferred to another department. Did that surprise you? No. I had already started looking for another job because I couldn't ethically continue at Magnatech. When they transferred me, I resigned immediately. Last question, Musk said. Did Magnatech have any similar energy storage technology in development before Hammond visited my facility? No, Priya said firmly. We were working on completely different approaches. Our research was at least 2 years away from anything close to your design. Thank you, Ms. Nair. Musk turned to the judge. Your Honor, I would like to introduce one more piece of evidence before Mr. Reeves cross-examines the witness. Judge Thornwald nodded. Go on. Musk placed his small electronic device on the evidence table. This is a demo setup I created to illustrate how the supposedly original Magnatech design is actually a copy of mine. He activated a device that projected a holographic display showing both designs layer by layer. As each component emerged, the identical nature of the technologies became impossible to deny. As you can see, Musk explained, even the internal component layout is identical. The chances of two teams independently creating such similar designs are essentially zero. The courtroom was completely silent. The evidence was overwhelming. Your Honor, Reeves finally said, rising again, we request a short recess to consult with our client. Judge Thornwald looked at her watch. We'll take a break for lunch. The trial will resume at 1 o'clock. As the gallery emptied, Layla rushed to Mask's side. It was amazing, she whispered. Did you see Hammond's face? Musk nodded slightly, keeping his expression neutral. We're not done yet. In the hallway, reporters surrounded both sides. Reeves pushed through without comment, Hammond following behind with a security guard blocking the cameras. Mr. Musk, the reporter called, was your confused performance yesterday an act? Musk just smiled. No comments. In a private conference room, Reeves confronted Hammond across a table. This is bad, Victor. Really bad. She's lying, Hammond insisted, pacing the room. It's her word against mine. It's her word plus emails, texts, and documents against your, Reeves corrected. Not to mention visual evidence of copied technology. We need to settle this now. No, I won't give him pleasure. You may not have a choice, Reeves warned. If this continues, we're not just looking at losing a patent case. This could become a criminal case. Hammond stopped walking. What do you mean? I mean, corporate espionage is a crime. So is the perjury you committed yesterday when you downplayed your meeting with Musk. Hammond's face turned pale. You're my lawyer. Fix this. I'm trying, Reeves said grimly, but you have to accept reality. Musk has outplayed us. Meanwhile, in another conference room, Judge Thornwald sat alone, reviewing the morning's evidence. 30 years on the bench had taught her to spot a liar, and Priya Nair was telling the truth. The emails and documents supported her testimony perfectly. The judge found herself overestimating Elon Musk. She had dismissed him as an arrogant amateur, but now she wondered if she herself was an amateur. His strategy of appearing unprepared while he assembled devastating evidence was brilliant. When the trial resumed, the tension was palpable. Reeves approached Musk before the judge appeared. My client is willing to discuss settlement terms, he said quietly. I'm not interested in a settlement, Musk replied. Don't be stubborn. We can solve this quietly. I'm not here for that. Before Reeves could answer, Judge Thornwald entered and everyone stood up. Before we go any further, she said, I want to make one thing clear. Ms. Nair, your testimony suggests not only patent infringement, but potentially criminal activity. Do you understand the seriousness of these allegations? I understand, Your Honor, Priya replied. That's why I resigned and spoke out. It was the right thing to do. Judge Thornwald nodded. Mr. Reeves, you may cross-examine the witness. Reeves walked to the podium, his early confidence gone. Miss Nair, isn't it true that you were passed over for promotion several times at Magnatech? No, she answered calmly. I was offered promotions twice, and I turned them down to stay in research. And you are not offended by Mr. Murphy's promotion? I was relieved. It meant I was no longer responsible for a project that I believed was unethical. Reeves tried a few more angles, but Priya remained unmoved. Her testimony was clear, consistent, and devastating. When Reeves finally sat down, Judge Thornwald turned to Musk. Do you have any more witnesses, Mr. Musk? No, Your Honor. Ms. Nair's testimony and the evidence I have presented speak for themselves. Judge Thornwald nodded thoughtfully. They definitely say so. As the day's proceedings progressed, one thing became abundantly clear to everyone in the courtroom. Elon Musk had not only prepared for this case, he had orchestrated every moment, and it was far from over. Your Honor, Musk said, rising from his seat, I would now like to address the legal remedy I seek. Judge Thornwald nodded. Go on, Mr. Musk. Musk walked to the center of the courtroom, no longer the hulking figure of day one. He moved with purpose, his voice clear and confident. Based on the evidence presented, I asked not only for the revocation of Magnatech's patent, but also for the specific legal remedy set forth in the Technological Innovation Protection Act of 2018. A puzzled expression crossed Reeves's face. Judge Thornwald also looked intrigued. Section 34, paragraph 12 of this law, Musk continued, establishes that in cases of proven corporate espionage, the court can impose significant sanctions, including a temporary injunction against the development and use of stolen technology, as well as compensation that significantly exceeds typical patent infringement cases. The courtroom fell silent. Even Judge Thornwald seemed stunned. Mr. Musk, she said, leaning forward, I'm familiar with the law on patents and technology, but I don't recall this particular provision. It's relatively obscure, Your Honor, Musk admitted. It was added as an amendment during the final passage of the bill. Few cases have cited it. He handed the document to the court clerk, who passed it to the judge. She studied it carefully, her eyebrows rising slightly. He's right, she muttered, almost to herself. Reeves jumped to his feet. Shaharaman. Your Honor, this is absurd. Such a measure would effectively close off Magnatech's access to an entire market segment. That's exactly the point, Musk replied calmly. The law was designed to create serious consequences for corporate espionage. Otherwise, companies would simply view legal penalties as a cost of doing business. Judge Thornwald was now nodding slightly as she read the statute. The wording is pretty clear, she admitted. The law provides for exceptional sanctions in cases of proven corporate espionage, significantly exceeding standard compensation for patent infringement. Hammond was urgently whispering to Reeves, who looked increasingly alarmed. Your Honor, Reeves said, we need time to study this statute and prepare a response. That seems reasonable, Judge Thornwald agreed. We'll call it a day and reconvene tomorrow morning. She turned to Musk. I must say, Mr. Musk, I am impressed with your knowledge of patent law. Thank you, Your Honor, Musk replied with a small smile. I was studying. As the courtroom began to empty, Reeves approached Musk again, his manner now almost pleading. Be reasonable, Musk. A 5-year ban would destroy Magnatech's energy division. You should have thought about that before stealing my technology, Musk replied simply. In the gallery, Layla watched the exchange with wide eyes. When Musk joined her, she couldn't contain her amazement. How did you find this law? She whispered as they walked out of the courtroom. I've never heard of it. Because most lawyers haven't heard of it, Musk explained. I spent weeks researching obscure patent statutes. When I found this one, I knew it was perfect. Outside the courthouse, reporters surrounded them again. Mr. Musk, is it true that you are asking to ban Magnatech from the energy storage market? Was your confused act simply a strategy to catch them off guard? No comment, Musk repeated, pushing his way through the crowd. Back in their temporary office, Layla's excitement was boiling over. Shariford, you were amazing there. Hammond looked like he was going to pass out when you mentioned that law. Musk allowed himself a small smile. The matter is not over yet, but it is moving in our direction. Now, insisted Layla, Judge Thornwald is completely on your side. She's doing her job, Musk corrected. Judges don't take sides. They follow the law. Which you know better than the dear Magnatech lawyers, laughed Layla. Musk's phone buzzed with a text message. He read it, and his expression turned serious. What is it? Layla asked. Hammond's people called Priya Nair, Musk said. Threatened her. This is witness intimidation. We must tell the judge. We'll tell you, Musk assured her. Tomorrow. Meanwhile, back at Magnatech's legal offices, Hammond was raging at his legal team. How could you not know about this law? He demanded, pacing the conference room. I pay you millions for exactly this kind of information. Reeves remained calm despite the attack. This is a little-known provision that is rarely used. The question now is how to respond. We're fighting it, obviously, Hammond snapped. I'm not sure that's wise, Reeves said carefully. The evidence against us is substantial. So you give up? I'm realistic. Musk has outmaneuvered us at every turn. First, he feigned incompetence to lull us into a false sense of security. Then he produced a star witness we never saw coming. Now he's found a legal approach that could destroy our business. Hammond slumped into his chair, the reality of their situation finally hitting him. What are our options? We could settle, Reeves suggested. Offer Musk a substantial payment and a formal apology. Never, Hammond spat. I won't give him the satisfaction. Then our only option is to attack the witness, Reeves said grimly. Discredit Priya Nair, suggest she stole the documents for personal gain, imply she's working with Musk. Will this work? Reeves sighed. Probably not, but that's all we have left. The courtroom was even more crowded the next morning. News of the unusual legal maneuver had spread overnight, and tech reporters from around the world filled the gallery. Judge Thornwald called the court into session. Before we go any further, I reviewed the statute that Mr. Musk cited yesterday. It does apply to this case, provided that the evidence of corporate espionage meets the legal standard. She turned to Reeves. Advisor, would you like to respond to Mr. Musk's request for a cease and desist order? Reeves stood up. Yes, Your Honor. We challenge the credibility of Ms. Nair's testimony and the authenticity of the documents she provided. On what grounds? We believe that Ms. Nair may have altered these documents after leaving Magnatech, possibly in collaboration with Mr. Musk. Judge Thornwald frowned. This is a serious accusation. Do you have evidence to support this? We are prepared to provide a technical analysis suggesting that the documents were recently altered, Reeves said. Musk stood up calmly. Your Honor, I anticipated this attack on Ms. Nair's character. I therefore took the precaution of having an independent forensic expert examine the original electronic records. He handed another file to the court clerk. This report confirms that the documents are genuine and have not been altered. In addition, I must inform the court that Ms. Nair has received threatening telephone calls from Magnatech representatives since her testimony yesterday. Judge Thornwald's expression darkened. Really? Mr. Reeves, does your client know that witness intimidation is a serious offense? Reeves turned pale. Your Honor, if such calls were made, they were not authorized by Magnatech management or the legal team. Judge Thornwald was clearly not convinced. As the morning wore on, she watched Musk with growing admiration. The man who had stumbled through opening statements 2 days earlier was now laying out complex legal arguments with remarkable precision. She found herself nodding along with his reasoning, impressed despite herself. And she wasn't the only one. Even some of Magnatech's junior lawyers watched him with undisguised respect. In the gallery, Victor Hammond nervously loosened his collar. The confident CEO, who had expected an easy victory, was now faced with a legal disaster of his own making. Your Honor, Reeves said, making one last attempt to save their case. We ask permission to present a technical expert who will testify that Magnatech's design, while similar to Mr. Musk's, contains significant differences. Judge Thornwald considered this. I will allow it. Call your witness. A tall man with a neat beard and glasses walked up to the witness stand. After being sworn in, he introduced himself as Dr. Marcus Whitfield, Chief Technology Officer of Cambridge Energy Systems. Dr. Whitfield, Reeves began, you've examined both companies' battery designs. In your expert opinion, could Magnatech have developed its technology independently? Yes, Dr. Whitfield replied confidently. While there are similarities in the overall approach, I have noticed several different engineering decisions in the implementation of Magnatech. Could you explain that in more detail? Reeves asked, looking relieved. Of course. The cooling system configuration, for example, uses a different channel arrangement, and the case material contains proprietary compounds not present in Mr. Musk's design. Judge Thornwald listened intently, her earlier bias now replaced by a careful neutrality. She took copious notes as Dr. Whitfield presented diagrams highlighting the differences. So, in your professional opinion, Reeves concluded, these designs could have been developed independently? Certainly possible, Dr. Whitfield agreed. Similar problems often lead to similar solutions in engineering. Thank you, Doctor. Reeves turned to Musk. Your witness. The courtroom tensed as Musk approached the stand. Instead of directly attacking Dr. Whitfield, Musk smiled politely. Dr. Whitfield, what is the key innovation that makes both of these battery designs so efficient? Nanocoating on the surfaces of the electrodes, the expert answered without hesitation. And this coating is applied in several separate layers, right? Yes, that's true. Musk nodded. Could you describe the specific sequence of these layers? Whitfield looked slightly uncomfortable. Well, both designs use a graphene base layer, followed by a titanium composite, then a proprietary ceramic material. Identical proprietary materials? Musk asked innocently. Well, yes, surprisingly similar. What are the chances that two companies will independently develop identical proprietary materials in identical layering sequences? Dr. Whitfield shifted in his seat. Musk continued this approach, asking seemingly innocent technical questions that gradually led Dr. Whitfield to contradict his own testimony. With each answer, the expert seemed more and more cornered. "Let me ask you straight, Doctor," Musk finally said. "The differences in the cooling system and the case that you mentioned, aren't they just cosmetic changes that don't affect the core technology?" After a long pause, Dr. Whitfield sighed. "Yes, the fundamental innovation, the nano-coating, is essentially identical in both designs." From the plaintiff's desk, Hammond glared at his expert witness. "No more questions," Musk said, returning to his seat. After Dr. Whitfield left the podium, Reeves walked to the bench. "Your Honor, we would like to call Mr. Hammond to the stand." Judge Thornwald nodded. "Go on." Hammond walked into the witness box, adjusting his expensive tie. After taking the oath, he exuded confidence despite his earlier nervousness. "Mr. Hammond," Reeves began, "have you instructed your team to copy Mr. Musk's technology?" "Absolutely not," Hammond said firmly. "I visited his facility as a potential partner. When that didn't work out, I directed our existing research team to continue their work on energy storage solutions." Reeves nodded. "Has Magnatech already developed similar technology?" "Yes, we have been researching advanced battery designs for years. The timing of our breakthrough shortly after my visit to Musk Innovations was a coincidence. Ms. Nair claims that you showed photographs from your visit and specifically ordered the team to copy Mr. Musk's design. How do you respond?" "That is absolutely false," Hammond said. "Ms. Nair was a disgruntled employee who became increasingly difficult after being passed over for promotion. These accusations are her way of getting even." Judge Thornwald watched Hammond closely, noting his confident delivery. He was a polished witness, well prepared by his legal team. "No more questions," Reeves said, sitting down. The courtroom fell silent as Musk stood for cross-examination. He walked slowly, calmly toward Hammond. "Mr. Hammond, you testified that Magnatech had already developed similar technology prior to your visit to my facility. Is that correct?" "Yes," Hammond answered firmly. "Could you explain the basic principles of your previous research?" Hammond hesitated slightly. "We have investigated various nano-coatings for battery electrodes. Could you be more specific about the composition of these coatings?" "I'm not a technical expert," Hammond hedged. "I rely on my research team for those details." "And yet you are the CEO who signed the patent application," Musk said. "Surely you understood what you were patenting?" Hammond's confidence began to crack. "In general terms, yes." Musk suddenly changed direction. "During your visit to my property, did you take any photographs?" "No." "Kokoni, did anyone on your team take photos?" "As far as I know, no." Musk nodded thoughtfully. "It's clear." He walked over to his desk and picked up a folder. "Your Honor, I would like to introduce these surveillance tapes into evidence." He played a clip that clearly showed Hammond's assistant taking pictures of the restricted areas. "Perhaps your memory needs refreshing," Musk suggested softly. Hammond's face turned red. "I didn't know that my assistant was taking photographs." "Really?" "Because in the next clip you can be seen looking right at her while she does it." The courtroom erupted in murmurs as the damning footage was played. Musk proceeded methodically, asking questions that gradually backed Hammond into a corner. With each answer, the CEO contradicted either his previous testimony or the documented evidence. Finally, Musk delivered his masterstroke. "Mr. Hammond, are you familiar with this notebook?" He was holding a small leather journal. Hammond's eyes widened in recognition. "Where did you get this?" "Miss Nair provided it. This is your personal notebook, isn't it?" "Yes, but it was stolen from my office." "Actually," Musk corrected, "Ms. Nair was tasked with cleaning up your office after the water leak. This was among the items she was tasked with salvaging." Musk opened his notebook to the marked page. "Would you mind reading this entry, dated the day after your visit to my facility?" Hammond remained silent. "If you prefer, I can read it," Musk offered. He turned to the judge. "Your Honor, may I?" Judge Thornwald nodded, completely absorbed. "Saw Musk's new battery tech today," Musk read aloud. "Revolutionary nano-coating. Need to speed up our version before he patents it. Assign Priya's team to reverse engineer immediately." The courtroom erupted in excited whispers. Hammond's face turned pale. "No more questions," Musk said quietly. The courtroom remained silent as Hammond returned to his seat, his shoulders slumped in defeat. Judge Thornwald checked her watch. We'll take a 15-minute break, she announced. When we return, I'd like to see both parties in my office. As people filed out of the chamber, reporters rushed to file updates. The story exploded overnight, with tech news sites live blogging about the hearing. Musk's legal genius stuns court, read one headline, already circulating on phones around the room. In the hallway, Reeves cornered Hammond. "This is a disaster," he hissed. "We need to resolve this immediately." "It's too late for that," Hammond muttered, loosening his tie even more. "He's coming for blood." In her chambers, Judge Thornwald sat at her desk, removing her glasses and rubbing the bridge of her nose. 30 years on the bench, and she had rarely seen such a complete turnaround in a case. As both parties entered, she gestured to the chairs in front of her desk. "Please sit down." Musk and Reeves sat down. Hammond remained standing, too excited to settle down. "I called you here because this case has taken an extraordinary turn," Judge Thornwald began. "Mr. Reeves, given the evidence presented, I strongly encourage your client to consider settlement options." Reeves nodded grimly. We are ready to discuss the terms, Your Honor." "I'm not ready," Hammond interjected. "It's not over yet." Judge Thornwald fixed him with a stern look. "Mr. Hammond, you must understand your position. The evidence against you is overwhelming. If I rule against Magnatech, as seems increasingly likely, you will face not only the loss of your patent, but also a 5-year ban on the market. It could also trigger criminal investigations." Hammond turned pale, but remained adamant. "There are courts of appeal." "Yes," the judge agreed, "and they usually rely on the factual findings of the trial court. The facts here are quite compelling." She turned to Musk. "Mr. Musk, would you be open to discussing a settlement?" Musk considered this for a moment. "I came here for justice, not money. The 5-year development ban is non-negotiable." Hammond snorted in disappointment. "This is irrational." "It's irrational," Musk replied calmly, "to steal someone's work and then sue them." Judge Thornwald leaned back in her chair, studying Musk with newfound respect. Then she did something unexpected. "Mr. Musk," she said, her tone softening slightly, "I owe you an apology." Everyone in the room looked surprised, including Musk. "I made assumptions about you when this trial began," she continued. "I thought you were arrogant and unprepared. I was wrong, and my behavior was unprofessional. You presented your case more thoroughly than most lawyers I have seen." Musk nodded, accepting her apology. "Thank you, Your Honor." The judge hesitated, then added, "I feel like I have something to explain." She glanced at Hammond and Reeves. "Could you gentlemen excuse us for a moment?" After they left, Judge Thornwald stood up and walked to her window, looking out at the city skyline. "When you walked into my courtroom," she admitted quietly, "I already had some preconceptions about tech entrepreneurs. Over the years, I've seen too many cases where big companies use their resources to crush smaller competitors." Musk listened intently, his gaze focused. "That's understandable. It happens too often." "I know," she continued. "I should have been more objective from the start. But professional skepticism sometimes turns into prejudice. That was my mistake." "I get it," Musk said. "Business decisions affect real people. I tried to remember that." Judge Thornwald turned to face him. "Your legal strategy was brilliant. The way you seemed so unprepared to lull them into a false sense of security, I've never seen anything like it." "Sometimes innovative thinking applies outside of technology," Musk replied with a small smile. A knock at the door interrupted them. The secretary stuck her head inside. "Judge, Mr. Hammond requests to speak with Mr. Musk alone." Judge Thornwald raised an eyebrow. "This is unusual." "I'll listen to what he has to say," Musk agreed. When Hammond walked in alone, his demeanor changed completely. Gone was the arrogant CEO. Now he looked like a desperate man. "Musk," he said without preamble, "name your price. Anything, just lift the 5-year ban." "It's not about money," Musk replied. "Everyone has a price," Hammond insisted. 10 million? 20 million? "The ban remains," Musk said firmly. "Your company tried to steal years of work from my team. There are consequences for that." Hammond's face darkened. "You're enjoying this, aren't you? Watching me squirm?" "No," Musk answered honestly. "I'd rather have a fair competition where we both innovate on our own merits." Judge Thornwald watched this exchange with interest. Here were two powerful men, but only one had retained his integrity. "Gentlemen," she said at last, "I think we have said all that needs to be said here. Let us return to the courtroom and bring this matter to a proper conclusion." As they walked out, Hammond made one last desperate plea. Musk, be reasonable. But Musk was already gone, his mind clearly focused on a future beyond this case. He had what he wanted, justice and protection for his company's innovations. Back in the courtroom, the gallery was silent when they returned. Layla caught Musk's eye from her seat, eyebrows raised questioningly. He gave her a small nod and she smiled in relief. Based on the evidence presented, Judge Thornwald announced, I am prepared to rule on this case after closing arguments. Mr. Reeves, Mr. Musk, please prepare to make your closing arguments. While Reeves nervously shuffled his papers, Musk sat quietly, his notes neatly organized in front of him. The outcome was no longer in doubt. He had won. Mr. Reeves, your closing statement, Judge Thornwald said. Reeves stood up, his early confidence gone. Your Honor, while the evidence presented by Mr. Musk is troubling, we maintain that Magnatech developed its technology through legitimate means. Ms. Nair's testimony should be viewed with skepticism, given her departure from the company under difficult circumstances. He continued for several more minutes, his arguments weak and unconvincing, even to his own ears. Hammond sat with his head down, no longer the proud CEO who had walked into court days ago. Thank you, Mr. Reeves, Judge Thornwald said when he finished. Mr. Musk? Musk walked up to the bench. Unlike his awkward first appearance, he now stood tall, his voice clear and measured. Your Honor, the evidence speaks for itself. The CEO of Magnatech visited my facility, secretly photographed proprietary technology, and instructed his team to copy it. Their own documents and witnesses confirm this. Justice demands not only the revocation of their fraudulent patent, but also the implementation of a 5-year injunction to ensure meaningful consequences for corporate espionage. Short, simple, and devastating, Musk returned to his seat as whispers spread throughout the courtroom. Judge Thornwald nodded. I will make my decision now. The courtroom fell silent. Everyone knew that this case had implications far beyond these two companies. It would set a precedent for how corporate espionage cases would be handled throughout the tech industry. This court has carefully considered all of the evidence presented, Judge Thornwald began. Priya Nair's testimony, supported by emails and Mr. Hammond's own notes, establishes clear evidence of corporate espionage. Hammond closed his eyes in defeat. Therefore, Magnatech patent number 108,726 is revoked. She paused, then continued. In addition, under Article 34 of the Intellectual Property Rights Protection Act, Magnatech Industries is subject to severe sanctions, including significant restrictions on the development and marketing of illegally obtained technologies. Gasps echoed through the courtroom. She wasn't just ruling in Musk's favor, she was granting him the full relief he'd requested. In addition, Magnatech must pay compensation in the amount of $20 million to Mr. Musk's company for attempted patent infringement, plus all legal costs associated with this case. She looked straight at Hammond. This court also refers this matter to the United States Attorney's Office for consideration of potential criminal charges related to industrial espionage and perjury. Hammond's face went white. Reeves placed a reassuring hand on his client's shoulder. Before we close, added Judge Thornwald, I want to address something. She took off her glasses, looking straight at the gallery filled with reporters. When this process began, I made assumptions about Mr. Musk representing himself. I doubted his abilities and even, unfortunately, made comments that were unprofessional. A murmur ran through the courtroom at this unusual confession. The court acknowledges its error, she said formally. Mr. Musk has demonstrated that innovative thinking applies to legal strategy as well as technology. His preparation and presentation of this case were exemplary. Musk nodded in acknowledgement of her words. Court is adjourned, Judge Thornwald announced, striking her gavel one final time. The courtroom erupted in excited conversation. Reporters rushed to the doors, eager to file their stories. Hammond and Reeves gathered with their team, faces grim. Layla ran to Musk. We did it, she exclaimed, her eyes shining. You were amazing. We were amazing, Musk corrected. Your technical expertise was critical. While they were gathering their materials, Judge Thornwald approached. Mr. Musk, one more word. Layla excused herself, leaving them alone. This is a remarkable case, said the judge. I have never seen anything like it. Thank you, Your Honor. Can I ask a question? That first day, was it all an act? Musk smiled slightly. Not completely. I was nervous, but yes, appearing unprepared was strategic. Judge Thornwald shook her head in amazement. Brilliantly executed. She hesitated, then added, I look forward to seeing what innovations your company creates next. I'm glad to hear that, Musk replied sincerely. Well, she said, holding out her hand, congratulations on your victory. As they shook hands, something passed between them, a mutual respect that had not existed days before. 2 months later, a sleek black car pulled up to the security gates of Musk Innovations headquarters. Judge Beatrice Thornwald showed her ID to the guard, who checked his list and let her through. She resigned from the bench a month after the Magnatech case, surprising many in the legal community. 30 years have been enough, she told reporters. Time for new challenges. In the lobby, Layla Chen greeted her with a smile. Judge Thornwald, it's good to see you again. Please call me Beatrice, the former judge replied, returning the smile. I'm not on the bench anymore. Elon is waiting for you in the lab, Layla said, leading the way. He's excited about the tour. They walked through brightly lit corridors where engineers and scientists worked on projects that would shape the future. Beatrice noticed the energy in the air, a sense of purpose and innovation that reminded her of her own youth. Musk met them at the entrance to the main lab, dressed in his usual, simple attire. Judge Thornwald, welcome to our facility. Thank you for the invitation, she replied. And please, it's Beatrice now. Musk nodded. Beatrice, then. Ready to see what we've been working on? Over the next hour, he led her through the various sections of the lab. He explained their latest advances in energy storage, now protected from Magnatech interference, and several other projects that left her amazed. It's incredible, she said, as they paused at a window overlooking the testing grounds. So different from the legal world. Is that the reason you resigned? Musk asked. Looking for something else? Partly, she admitted. 30 years of other people's problems take their toll. I was ready for a change. They continued toward a quieter section of the building, entering a small conference room with a view of the mountains. Coffee was waiting for them on the table. I have a confession, Musk said as they sat down. There's a reason I invited you here today. I suspected, Beatrice replied, sipping her coffee. What is it? Musk studied her for a moment. During the trial, did you ever wonder why I chose to represent myself? It wasn't just a strategy. I wanted to meet you face to face, Musk said simply. Beatrice frowned. Meet me? Why? Because I knew who you were, Musk said. Not just as a judge, but as an engineer. Beatrice stared at him, her cup forgotten, her hands shaking slightly. What do you mean? You've defended a lot of intellectual property cases and have a reputation as a judge who takes the protection of technological innovation seriously, Musk explained. How did you know about this? She asked quietly. It was so long ago. I make it my business to know the history of my field, Musk explained. Your design was ahead of its time. A company called Vertex Tech stole it from you, as I recall. I've always tried to be fair in these matters, she replied. Innovation is the lifeblood of progress, and protecting the rights of inventors is critical to maintaining incentives for innovation. That's what I've noticed in your decision-making history, Musk nodded. You've always tried to protect the real innovators. Beatrice nodded, surprised at how well he knew her judicial career. Unfortunately, often inventors and small companies cannot afford lengthy legal battles with corporate giants. Did you know that you were assigned to my case because of your technical background and experience in patent litigation? Musk asked. Of course. The court often matches judges with relevant expertise on cases. What's interesting, Musk continued, is that I took a close look at all of your past patent infringement decisions as soon as I learned you were going to preside. Understanding lit up Beatrice's eyes. Did you develop your legal strategy based on my approach to evidence in similar cases? Musk confirmed. I knew that you were able to appreciate technical nuances and always strive for justice, especially when it comes to protecting original innovations. To his surprise, Beatrice laughed. I should be offended that you manipulated the court like that. I like to think of it as an understanding of my audience, Musk replied. The evidence was real. The law was real. I just presented it in a way that I knew would resonate with you. Brilliant, she admitted. Absolutely brilliant. They sat in silence for a moment, two minds that had found unexpected common ground. So, Beatrice finally asked, why am I really here today? Surely not just for a tour and a revelation? No, Musk agreed. I have a proposition for you. He opened a folder on the table and moved it toward her. Inside was a contract. I need someone who understands both technology and law to help our legal department, he explained. Someone who can protect our innovations while helping us navigate complex regulatory issues. Beatrice raised an eyebrow. Do you want to hire me? I want to partner with you, Musk corrected. Your experience as an engineer who was wronged and as a judge who defended innovation makes you uniquely qualified. I haven't practiced law for 30 years, she pointed out. You don't need to. You will have a team of lawyers under you. What I need is your judgment and understanding of both worlds. Beatrice leafed through the contract, considering the offer. It would be a significant change. Change drives innovation, Musk said, and I suspect you didn't retire just to play golf. She laughed again. You are right about that. Beatrice stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the mountains. She had spent decades enforcing the law from the bench. Now she had a chance to champion innovation from the inside, to help create rather than just judge. She turned back to Musk. Before I decide, I have one question. How confident were you in the success of your unusual strategy? Introducing yourself to such a complex undertaking is an incredibly risky move. I carefully calculated the risks, Musk said. It was important to me to personally protect the work of my team. This was not just a business, but a principle, and I believed that the truth was on our side. Satisfied with his answer, Beatrice made her decision. She took off her judicial robe, which she had brought with her in a garment bag, and draped it over the back of her chair, symbolically leaving her old role behind. Sometimes, she said, echoing Musk's earlier words to Layla, you have to do things yourself. Musk stood up and extended his hand. Sure term, welcome to the team, Beatrice. As they shook hands, they both knew it was the start of something great. Two brilliant minds who first met as adversaries were now united by a common goal. And somewhere across town, in a nearly empty office, Victor Hammond was packing the last of his belongings. Magnatech's board had forced him to resign. A 5-year ban had devastated their energy division, and criminal charges were still looming. He thought he was being clever by stealing ideas instead of creating them. Now he understands what Elon Musk knew all along. True innovation can't be stolen, it must be earned.